Good evening. Welcome back to another presentation here in the Issues Room, our 99th edition. I'm happy to be back here. Can you imagine being around for 99th edition? That's a lot to cover. We could have passed 100, but we've uh, had some breaks here and there in our transmission. Some days we didn't broadcast, but it's good to be back this evening. This conversation going to be a good one. We will be having, full house to discuss this. I'm believing that a lot of you saw the flyer and why we have come here tonight to hold this conversation. Again, we want to welcome you every Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the time can change depending on where you are in the world. So for Liberia at this time, it's 11 p.m. GMT. I'm Volcano Shelton, and I'll be joined here right now by my good friend and brother, my colleague. I'm trying to get to him, Moses Sandy, out there in Delaware. Moses, good to be back here on another presentation in the Issues Room, the alternative social media platform where we discuss the things that matter, particularly Liberia, the African continent, and that of the diaspora. How you
Y-
feeling today?
Very good.
Good.
And like you, it is good to be back in the issues room,
So,
prepared to discuss those contemporary issues that matter most to
So
Liberia.
we want to be pushing fast because time is of the essence. Anything on your trending news? I think quickly. I know. Let me just quickly lay the premise. I think we were talking about what I told you when I was driving, and you said you wanted to just bring this in quickly. I was
Yeah.
driving today, and as I went through a lot of traffic lights, I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, Liberia is bragging about sovereignty and doesn't even have traffic lights in this modern day and age. And the few that they have work sporadically, and even those that work sporadically are not being adhered by commuters, drivers, pedestrians, whether red, green, blue, yellow, they just go by. And
Even
the
police
few,
officers, if
yes,
I could
yes.
just add on to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the few that are out there are, on and off. And we're breaking about sovereignty in the 22nd century, because I'm not going to say the 21st now. We've pushed past that time. And here we are, Moses, a whole country. We can barely produce 10 traffic lights in the whole country that is working. A country that is the oldest on the continent of Africa. But then you got guys who go in government and take for themselves, in the case of the three sanctioned officials of the George Weah government, who walked away with millions of dollars, and one of them is trying to go back in the legislature.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? The monies that God took could put traffic lights in many of the places in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Volcano, what you said is is very sensitive, emotionally disturbing as well. A country of over 200 years of political existence since 1847. And, since then, you cannot afford to have traffic lights because of what? Greed. And like you said, it took a foreign country to hold three public officials of the we administration accountable. The most prominent, the former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Natana McGill. Three officials were accused by the United States government for contributing, for engaging in acts that underpin Liberia's effort to thrive. They undermine the engaging acts that had the potential of undermining the peace and stability of the country. And for Canada, I just can't wrap my head around this.
And so the guy goes to Magibi County and wants to what?
He wants to become senator.
So then what happened today in the House?
So then the question here is, where's the rule of law? And now, what really stood out today is that now you have two lawmakers in the House of Representatives coming from the ruling party that at loggerhead. Melvin Cole of Bone County of the ruling CDC strongly support the re-entrance of Nathaniel McGill into government. He says what is happening is just a mere allegation. It took a foreign country to hold McGill and the others accountable. It took a foreign country to coerce George Weah to tell McGill, you need to step aside. And you have a lawmaker who call himself a nationalist talking about McGill should be given the opportunity to go back into government. And you have another CDC lawmaker from Margibi, Tabarosa Ta Wompong West, something like that, from Margibi. He says that Magay should not be given the opportunity. Margibi is not a dumping ground, quote unquote. It's not a quote unquote dumping ground for criminals. I stand with this lawmaker. It is a shame. It is embarrassing that McGill will want to come back into government. McGill is an embarrassment to Liberia at this time. The government is now divided. And let me pause there. I know we pressed the time,
Yeah,
but
so yeah,
McGill
quickly. So
cannot come
just to
back to
recap,
government.
just to
Yeah.
recap,
Mhm.
the truth here is these guys' corruption is so um abysmal to the point that it undermines, like you said, the potential for the country
To
to thrive.
thrive.
And if one man is taking the monies and putting it in his personal use when there's no traffic light, I'm driving down Westchester Pike, and I'm telling you, traffic lights upon traffic lights upon traffic
Yeah.
lights. Just one thoroughfare. I'm not talking about the numbers of traffic lights, millions of
Yes.
traffic
Yeah.
lights.
Mhm.
But you have a
The whole country.
country that is bragging about being a sovereign nation, and its independence is the first in Africa. Oh, we had the first female president. Oh, we the first this one. Oh, we signatories to the formation of the League of Nations. Oh, we signatories to the United Nations. And you don't have traffic light, Moses.
It
You
is
come
a
out of your
shame.
Havas International Airport, not one traffic light, not one, all the way to ERWA Junction, and you get to ERWA Junction, no traffic light. You
Yeah.
get to SKD Boulevard, none. The first traffic light you see is the
Yeah.
one at Nigeria House that is not functioning well. And then you get to what you call it, what it called Famoma House. That one is also on and off. And then you get to 20th Street. That one is on and off. From there to Morovia, the whole Capitol Hill, you can barely find. What type of country is this? But this
I mean,
president is building roads.
yeah.
There's no sidewalks to these roads.
No.
This
No.
president claims to be building roads. There's no stop signs on these roads. There's no road signs. And you're bragging about these things, and you're telling us in this 21st century, as civilized as the world has gotten.
But
So
but
you
but
stop there, Moses.
one word summarizes that: greed, greed, greed. Like the former Minister of Labor, former Minister of Public Works, confused when he spoke to journalists in Worcester, Massachusetts, especially Liberian journalists in the Americas. Liberia is in peril. The
I think
country is
Liberia is
sick.
no longer in peril. It's contaminated now. It is
The country is sick, my
contaminated.
man.
Everywhere in the country is contaminated. Every sector of the country is contaminated, and
Yeah,
it's glaring. There's nothing that this president can do now that will undo the damage that has been done.
that
Honestly,
is that is very
honestly. But let's bring in Ansu Dwalu. Ansu, I know you heard the trending news, but this is just some of the things that we're going to be talking about here tonight, to see if really this president who is in power, Mr. George Manawia, can make his case for 2023. There's chatter going on all over the place, and I had the opportunity to run into to some Liberians who asked me, "Oh, the issues room. Oh yeah, come here. We got a question for you." And then they said to me, "The three people that are in the race." I said, "What three people?" They said, "George Weah, Joe Barker, and Alexander Cummings." I said, "So you will leave the other people? You will leave the other people out of the race? Eh? How about tier one?" They said, "No, no, no. Like the three big people we're talking about." I said, "But then they're not three people. The men who in power, everybody want moving. So let's settle
Yeah,
on the two people." And they say,
yeah.
"Yeah, the two people, Barker and Cummings. Don't you think that those guys can make a good ticket? They're supposed to put everything behind them and go and make a good ticket." And I said, "But wait a minute, all the things are happening around here. You ain't see it, you don't know what's going on. The CPP is disintegration. Barker can't see coming can't see Barker. So, but let's say the possibility should exist. Let's say the possibility should exist. We'll come to that. But let's start the conversation from that perspective. People are looking at it. But let's start from what's the basis for this? What would be the need for a Barker Cummings to team up? What would be the need, gentlemen? Let's start with you, Ansu.
Well, thank you guys for the invitation to come and join you this afternoon. I can't start a show without inviting the young people of Liberia. This is their legacy we are talking about, their heritage. Look, you guys were talking about streetlights, and I was sitting back here laughing, going, the evolution of development, streetlight is actually on the higher rung of that development. We're still on the bottom. We can barely build basic schools. We can barely feed ourselves. We're talking about streetlights. It's way up there. So we are not even on the streetlight levels yet. We actually try to jump over certain portions of development and want to institute another. It doesn't work that way. It's going to fail every single time. We barely have electricity. Streetlights are not going to work. But let me say this. The political parties in Liberia, from the Commie Arms and the Boakai people, what they have decided, I think there's a bunch of infighting going on. But I don't want to address that just yet. I want to say this. The National Elections Commission is intentionally sabotaging the election, and the opposition sitting there, they are saying absolutely nothing. President Weah understands this. All the delays that are coming from the National Elections Commission as it relates to the biometrics is intended to sabotage our elections. That's what's happening. But the issue of communists and Boykai, look, I don't know if they're going to work together. The charters are everywhere, like you mentioned, Volcano, and everybody's been talking about this. And they say, well, this will make a great ticket. In fact, I firmly believe that they both collaborated. There is no freaking way they can win less than 60% of the vote within the first round. That's how much I believe in that ticket if they were to collaborate. But here's the question: with all the backbiting, all the force from the ANC folks, all the force from the Black folks, can they come together? Can they set aside the petty differences and actually come together? Because I believe Honorable Cummings does bring something huge to the table. So does Honorable Boykai. But the question now remains is the same question in our Liberian community where everybody wants to be the pastor. So there's a proliferation of churches all around. Who would be the head of this ticket? This is the question we're continuing to ask. But if they were to collaborate, now, I think sometimes some of the hesitation is actually coming from not the candidate themselves, but the surrogates, people around them I tell them, to listen, we cannot work with those people. And I wanted to say this before I give it to my brother here, Moses.
Yeah.
It is not about the individuals that they're going to work with. It's about rescuing this country. Because let me tell you, President Weah, this is Africa. President Weah is an incumbent. He has access to literally everything that turns the wheel in that country. The National Elections Commission is messing around. We have not even cleaned up the voters' registration roll. We are still playing with the biometrics. This election will actually go beyond the statute. I mean, the state did because we are not prepared. So President Weah has everything in his court.
And
If
you
they
factor us in census as well with
thank
all
you.
of the.
So I'll give
Everything.
it to Moses. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
elaborate on that.
Yeah, look, Ansu, you are 100% right. And like Volcano said, what we need in Liberia, I think, look, a majority of Liberians agree that we have a leadership deficit in Liberia.
Correct.
The need for change in political leadership is something that majority of Liberians agree with. Why do we need a change in political leadership in Liberia? Liberians need a change in political leadership because Mr. Weah, President Weah, has failed Liberia. George Weah is grossly incompetent. He has no clue in terms of political governance. As a result, the country appears to be ungoverned. There's a breakdown in almost every sector of the country. The legislature is compromised. The NEC, the National Elections Commission, is compromised. The judiciary is compromised. Educational system underfunded. Healthcare undersupported. The economy not working because you have a president who has no clue in terms of what is happening around him. He lacks the ability to comprehend what to do and what not to do, what the changes that are needed to make this country a functioning democracy. We all agree on this. We all agree on this. That is not debatable. Liberians at home, Liberians in the diaspora, everybody, majority agree that Liberia needs a change. Now, how do we get this change? That's the question that Volcano put to us. The people are looking up to what? The opposition. And what we saw in 2020, the unison that existed in the opposition camp, the collaboration, the CPP. Many people talk about Joseph Boakai and Alexander Cummings. Guys, let's just look at these two individuals.
Don't
If they
get to
were
them
to,
yet.
okay,
Don't
yeah.
get to them.
So,
Let me quickly
so that,
remind
yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
quickly remind the audience, listen, we're here live and we haven't seen you guys chatting yet. This conversation, according to the flyer, we implore you to come on here, throw some comments here, throw some hypotheticals, give us something to feed off on, let the conversation flow. Don't just be in the back. This is the time now for you to come in. Don't wait when we open the lines, you don't say something, and when we're ready to wrap the show up, then you start calling. Let us know you're here. Come on, this is an opportunity.
It's
Our
about you.
country is in the balance. Our country is at the crossroad, and we want to find the best solution. We're not saying that the conversation here tonight is in any way supportive of anybody. We're just looking at the options on the table, and because Liberians are concerned about 2023 and the coming together of these two front runners could make a better team that can bring this change that many or majority of the folks are longing for. That's what we're having this conversation. So again, please let us know you're here. We'd like to recognize you here on the 99th edition. Go ahead,
Uh,
Moses.
yeah, so let me just make this disclaimer too. It's important that we make this disclaimer. Yeah. Volcano, Shelton, and I'm sure my brother Ansu as well. We have no political lineage to any political party in Liberia. We are just speaking our minds as Liberians, as individuals who are concerned about the future of Liberia. Liberia needs a change because if he allowed George Weah to get another 6 years, come 2023, the future of Liberia will be doomed. Right now, the country is struggling because there's no leadership. That's why the need for a change in political leadership has become imperative. Now, let's look at the individuals that people are talking about. Old man Joseph Boakai, more than 40 years of political leadership experience, serving various governments. His last position was vice president for 12 years under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. A career politician, knowledgeable. The name resonates in Liberia. His His weakness would be what, which a lot of people are throwing out there is old age. People are saying that the old man is old, but when you sit and talk to him, he come across as very intelligent. The man who knows the issues, who can get a job done. Alexander Cummings from the corporate world, he served Coca-Cola. This is the man who came to the United States like any of us, and he made his way to the top. We should commend him for that. He has corporate experience. The disadvantage he has is that the name Alexander Cummings in Liberia is not known. He's a stranger. Beyond Monserrato, Alexander Cummings is not known even in Maryland County, where he comes from. That is greatest challenge. And most Liberians are not prepared, to take that risk. His performance in the last election. I'm told he came third. Joseph Walker came second. So people are saying that if you have a unison between Joseph Walker and Alexander Cummings, you will save Liberia. And let me say, I am not a member of any political party, but I can tell you, Volcano, if that happens, George Weah will be a one-term president. Let me stop there.
Ansu?
Are you there, Ansu? You
You mute.
mute. Yeah.
I apologize. I thought you were going to speak for a second there.
No.
But let me say this. I mean, Moses says everything that I believe is true. Okay, although for me, I support Honorable Boakai this time around because I believe he can recalibrate the system that we are looking for. Although initially I supported Mr. Cummings, I believe he can bring his corporate experience to the Liberian space. But there is this divorce from, I believe initially that Honorable Cummings will have that connection in the country. Although he has the capability to deliver, but does he have the potential to win this time around? And I don't believe he does for several factors that I can list here. Now, it's
We
almost
want you to do that. We want you to do
okay.
that.
There are several factors here. Let me say this. It's almost a foregone conclusion that Honorable Parker is going to win this race if they are willing to push back our president. We have to make sure these biometrics are done properly, the voter rolls clean up. Here's the reason why I think Honorable Cummings cannot win. Um, Now I've maintained this, and I said this several times, several shows, and I'll say this, and I will say again. Honorable Cummings has the proper pedigree to actually transform the country. But here is the hold up to Honorable Cummings. I don't believe Honorable Cummings has invested properly in the country. Now, when I said investment, let me quantify that. I'm not talking about monetary investment. Most people in the country don't feel he's invested politically in the country sufficiently to be elected this time around. That does not negate the fact that he has the proper pedigree to actually transform this country. I'm not looking at what Honorable Cummings brings to the table. I'm looking at how do people view him, giving how he was voted for. Now, I want people to open their mind, remove the feelings and the emotions. I'm talking analytics here. Okay, I'm talking about analytics now. In Liberia's history, given the numbers he got last time around, which were approximated 8%, 7 point something percent. Okay, it's never happened almost any check around the world. It's possible, but where he's going to double his number very easily. But let's assume for the sake of argument, he doubles the number to 15%. That means he may not even make it into the second round. Now, I would even put Honorable Gunglo above Honorable Cummings, giving the political capital that Honorable Gunglo has infused in Liberia. And even though Honorable Cummings does have some money, he can make some hairwaves. But I don't believe Liberian people understand what he brings to the table. Now, it's not for me to market Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings have his people that's marketing now. Honorable Baka, on the other hand, people can claim about his age. But Honorable Baka has sufficient, in fact, enough political capital in the country where he has to do the bare minimum to win these elections. Almost in every county in the country because he's worked so long in the government. And people have to understand that in Liberia, people normally vote a minimum of 3 years in advance. Let me explain what that means. The issue of President we are becoming president, it was a foregone conclusion. Nobody could have literally changed anybody's mind about President Weah. Now we know better, but at that time, people said it was President Weah's time. You could not change the minds of the young people. Now they've seen what he can deliver. Now, the reason why they're going to pick Boakai, and say what you will about this reason. Nah, It won't be reason that I use, but this is the reason that the papi time they just give it to him. Now, this is not how we should
That
be
only
electing.
one time. That only one time
Yeah,
the public
yeah,
coming for.
yeah. This is not how we should be electing our leaders.
Yeah.
But I'm looking because you got to actually factor in the psyche of the
And you know
people.
what? You know what someone said to me in
Yeah.
that conversation I'm talking about that necessitated this conversation.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
The Papi can't go as vice president again. The Papi was there for 12 years. The
yes.
Papi must
It,
come and be vice president to
it's
Cummings.
based on
No.
no logic. It's based on no logic.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So you kind of factor that if you want to talk to my ANC brothers, they say, "Oh, Dwalu, you're on the Cummings team." I said, "Listen, yes, why?" I spoke to some of the Cummings folks. I've spoken to Bwaka several times, and the Pape believed that the issue of squandering, he has not even distanced himself from it. He believed over the last 40, 50 years, they've been in the governmental space. You can argue that Honorable Bwaka been in government, but he's never had true power. I am not negating his responsibility. He's never had true power. Here's the thing. Honorable Bwaka had a vision for Liberia, even the agricultural sector that he ran. It will not be actualized if that vision contravenes the vision of the so-called whoever was president in the country. We don't run our entities individually in Liberia. It's almost entirely run the way the president feels. So let's say I'm a commissioner in Grangita County, and I want to run my commission to the vision that I have for that location. If somebody laid my complaint one time, the president, my man, you will do what I want you to do. Then because I have no job, I will stay in the position and not deliver. So it's not run independently. Everything is controlled from Morovia. So I'm beholding to the bureaucrats up in Morovia, not to the people who I'm serving in Grand Jita County. I'm just being hypothetical. You see my view where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So this is why Honorable Braka is suited. Now, I said this before even the CPP broke apart. Mr. Cummings' best best opportunity to the presidency was through the vice presidency. People don't like to hear this. And this is the reason why I'm going to say this. I'm a realist. Honorable Bwaka is an old man. There are so many probabilities that against Honorable Bwakai, I'm not going to list them for some people will take them in the wrong way
Yeah.
to the point that it could benefit Honorable Cummings. And we're all educated, man. You understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely.
Honorable Cummings could have expanded his political capital in the country by actually occupying the statutory position that enables him to reach the people and prepare him for the presidency. Now, I want to say this before I give it to you guys. Honorable Cummings, because he's been away so long. I left Liberia at 12 years old. He's been away so long. By coming back to Liberia and even getting 7% of the population's vote, it's a tremendous accomplishment. I know people say, "Oh, Dwalu, don't."
And
You, you want
in that short space of
in
time.
that short span.
Yeah.
So when you say people, I don't want people to get emotional. That's why I love to talk to men like you that will understand because we can disagree. But when the facts are presented, look at it in the educated lens and then let's dissect it together. Doesn't mean I'm right. I can see your views. No, Dwalu. Let's look at it from this angle. And that's what we should be doing to expand the way we think in the country. And I'll give it to you, brother.
So for instance, let me just say that a part of that conversation also had to do with why Alexander Cummings did not go in the Senate when that seat was vacant. Instead, he sponsored what's his name, Darius DeLong, to
Right.
go in the Senate. George Weah said, "Okay, maybe let me go in the Senate, even though I'm going there to do anything. But just the fact that I'm in the Senate, I will gain some political leverage."
I don't believe that though. I think George Weah was a last resort thing. It was a paycheck thing for
I
him.
mean, George
I,
Weah was.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
the conscience here would be he gained some kind of political leverage.
I can agree.
He had constituencies that cast a vote for him
Yeah.
as a senator, and now those same people will say, "Wait a minute, we can now give the vote to him as the president." Had Cummings done that and overwhelmingly win Monserrato County, that may have built some voting population for him.
Yeah.
Okay, because he will be then dealing with a whole constituents of people. And when you think on Monserrato County, you can imagine the population size of Monserrato County.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's
practically
very huge.
40% of the vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then let's come back to the comparison between the two. We talked about Boycott, public service experience, political leverage, and all of that. The case can be that he will put Liberia back in the Committee of Nations. He will give Liberia the outlook it needs in the international community. He's able to relate to political leaders, world leaders around the globe. He will hopefully put in a government that will, put Liberia back on the map. Then Alexander Cummings, as the business executive,
Executive.
will understand in terms of holding the economy, in putting it in a better shape,
Yep.
making sure that our extractive industry is giving us back rather than just taking away, and nothing is
We
given
need that
back to the
leadership. We
society.
need that leadership. Yep.
He will understand that accountability is critical, that systems must work. Because from a business perspective, for Coca-Cola to thrive, Alexander
Yeah.
Cummings wouldn't have kept his job had he not brought profit back.
The numbers,
Oh,
Yeah.
the
of course.
reports, the
So,
forces,
so being the vice president, if they can come to that term where Mr. Boyka says to him, listen, just reverberate the economy, put us back to where we're supposed to be, handle all of the extractive industries, make sure that the system is working for us. We will deal with the political image building and blah blah blah.
correct.
But I talked to someone today who said that Cummings wants to be president this term, and it's a must. And he's doing everything. He's working hard because he's not the guy who wants to get to the presidency very old. 2029 for him, he might be probably hitting 71 or 2.
Yeah.
He wants to enjoy his life. So if it's not now, then definitely. So this is where we have this struggle. Is it about me? Is it about Dualu? Is it about Moses? Or is it about Liberia? Because if they have this hot potato and throwing it at each other, if they don't say, let's hold the hot potato and get burned for Liberia, but we must take we are out, then, gentlemen, where are we?
I want to
That's
say
the
that before
message of
Moses come in, let me
diplomacy.
say that. Is that 1 second?
Yeah.
Moses, I want to say this though.
Mhm.
Mr. Cummings's I don't want to use the word right, but Mr. Cummings's urge to become president is justified.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
nobody negate that. Wanting to become president now, I would support it any day because it's Mr. Cummings's opportunity to do so. I hate that word right in certain sense.
I'm worried
Yeah,
here.
it's
We're
his
not having no
desire, yeah.
comments here tonight. I'm not sure if something is happening with Facebook,
Mm.
but if anyone there, I know we have more than 50 people from the numbers showing here, which is also not
Just make a
accurate.
comment, yeah.
But please say something. Say hi. We're here. I'm here. Just so I make sure that
Yep.
the comment box is working. Please.
Well, the
Let's
comment
do
box
that.
is working because it's feeding in my feed heavily.
But I'm not
Okay.
seeing anything. I'm
Oh,
not.
well, kind of refresh. I got Seattle Town saying, my boy Maurice Dolly just said, great analysis, gentlemen.
Oh
I
God.
got Mustafa Sando, Mr. Cummings is getting drunk for presidency. You have to distance
Okay.
yourself from this kind of person. So the comments are coming.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not seeing anything on my end.
Yeah, I'm getting
Honestly.
a lot of comments.
By the way, let's roll when
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
so and I kind of missed my train of thought. On the issue of Mr. Cummings wanting
No,
to
we're
become
talking the
president.
age thing, and you
Yeah.
said it's
No.
justifiable that he wants he
Be
should.
president now.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But at the same token, what I would caution Mr. Cummings is this: wanting something now and the probability that this something can be actualized now must be factored against each other to weigh that. And I think wanting it now is a great thing. I would support his right to do so. But is it actionable now? What are the criteria he's going to use to make it actionable now? Now, it's not for me to say, but what I'm going to say is this: his best conduit to the presidency is building a political capital in a way that I've described initially. And as he built that political capital, there are other ways to do that. But I love how you describe it, Shelton, because Mr. Comey comes with a high degree of expertise. Nobody can deny that of the man, given what he achieved in this country. I mean, there were quotas he had to meet. So he had a set of systems that work. The system has to be tested against the market forces, accelerate the economy, and the numbers in that location population. There's so many data go into that. And Mr. Comey understands that. So he would be a massive asset in that instance. But will Liberians see this? And this is where some Comey supporter will get mad at me. Liberians are not sophisticated in the instance to see that just yet. So Mr. Comey has to leverage what he has now. And part of that leveraging is the collaboration with somebody that can take him over the hump. And that's where I come from. Mr. Moses.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Moses, hold one quick second.
Sure.
Let me bring Randy in. Randy is here already. Randy,
Okay.
you live?
Welcome, Randy. My
You're
man, you're
muted.
muted.
You muted.
You're muted. You're still muted. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
He's
yes.
on now. Okay.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening, good evening, good morning to everyone. Thank you again, guys, for giving me this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I'm hoping
Sure.
that you were listening because where we are now is the issue of the Cummings boycott ticket, and we were looking at, honestly, are these guys really going to mend fences to the point where they become one? Vice president and president. People are making the case that Barker cannot be president. I mean, vice president again after 12 years to go to his picking Cummings. Cummings that picking for the old man. The old man got more political clout. He understands the politics. Cummings is the business guy. He understands the economy. He understands changing the country from where it's at by giving it, boosting the economy, bringing all of our systems back in place. Do you think they complement each other and they should take that chance now and start to work on getting to build a team because they're the best alternative? Otherwise, George Weah remains the second term president.
Yes. Let me say this to your audience here and to all Liberians. It is good to give these different strategy to win an election in Liberia a thought, but these are just political and theoretical combination that we're putting all together here. Let no Liberian that understand Liberian politics think that Mr. Cummings and Mr. Boga are going to merge. No, that fusion will never take place.
Mm.
And here's why.
Why?
Mr. Cummings, upon arriving to Liberia, was given an honorary honor by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That was his introduction to Liberian politics. It was not by mistake that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not support Joseph Boyka. It was intentionally, it was honestly done by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And as long as Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is in our country, Joseph Boyka can forget about becoming president. So whatever political theory you guys are putting together here, it's not going to work. Comey has already started to engage the Ellen strategy plan for next year election. The likes of Louis Brown, who did he serve under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? The likes of Pinky Duncan Cassett, who did she serve under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? The likes of Glenwood McIntosh, who did he serve under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? A good friend to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Daniel Chie. More names are to come, but they are just moving them in pack. Now, when you look at Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's strategy prior to Mr. Weah election against George Weah, Ellen distributed Montana Weah, what they call Musa ability to Liberty Party. Ellen took Weston Finley and others and went into CDC. Ellen is very proactive, calculated, and well measured into Liberian politics. So if you ever think for a second that that's going to happen, well, as always, I can say, wait until the election comes. You will start crying fire and say, they cheated. Ellen Johnson said the primary objective is for Joseph Boyka to never become president. Mr. Cummings, to be honest, and I take pride in his platform, but he's not running this coming election to be president. He's running to be popular. Mr. Cummings' popularity is going to increase, and I'm going to decrease Mr. Boyka's popularity, and that will give Mr. Weah the opportunity. Let's say, for example, the election go to the next one.
So Randy, quickly,
Yeah.
let me just cut you off because what you're telling us as an insider of the ANC,
I'm no longer an
this
insider
is
again. Point of
okay.
correction. I'm no
Okay,
longer
but
an
let
insider
me
because
just
what I
complete
just
that.
reviewed to you is
Yeah,
some of the
let me
reasons.
I just want you to reiterate that because what you are telling us tonight is a breaking news. Can you say that again for our people?
Well, I'll just restate myself. I don't know
Yes.
where you want me to begin from, but
Or that Mr. Cummings is not going to run 2023.
No,
no,
he's running. He's not
but
intending to be president, Moses.
he's running. Mr.
Oh,
Cummings,
okay.
Mr.
Okay, he
Cummings
It's
was
to
will
muddy
running.
run.
the water.
Okay.
The
Yes.
strategy, I'm
Okay.
coming, Randy. I'm coming.
Okay.
Okay.
The strategy
Okay.
is to muddy the water for Black Eye. And
Oh,
then if they
okay.
go to runoff, then
Yeah.
we'll see what will happen there.
Yeah.
She will pledge alliance to hopefully pledge
He might not
alliance.
do that. He might not do
Okay.
that. Yeah, what? Yeah, how it going to happen?
Okay.
All the early layover that she gave it to him,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman will come on and say, "Look, I think it will be up to the people to decide." Now, the legs of Louis Brown, Claywood McIntosh, Duncan Pinkett Cassett, Daniel Chie, they will now decide to move in the direction of Mr. Weir, because Mr.
Okay.
Comey will now want to be seen as somebody who this CDC aside and want to support. And that's why Ellen is now filling those gaps for the day to come. But many Liberians will not see this for now. So I won't blame them with their comments, but we just hope to see that time. And that when Randy will become the political how they call it, guru for Liberian politics. But this is very deep. All right.
I
So
think you're wrong, Randy, but I will counter. Go ahead.
well, there's nothing being wrong. The reality when the time comes.
So, but
Many
let hear from Ansu. Ansu, before
Okay,
you,
so Randy, there's a
yeah.
few things that are completely flawed. First of all, the Ellen factor is not that important in Liberia, despite what he just said. Ellen does have some clout in Liberia, and I will concede that point, but not to the level where she can have any tremendous influence in our elections. Number two, ABC. If ABC wants to increase its popularity, the best option is to collaborate with somebody who's extremely popular right now to up that popularity if his intention is not to win these elections. Number three, the people that are going to the camp of Honorable Cummings, these are talented individuals, many of whom would not have the kind of getting vote that you think they are going to have. I think it's a flawed strategy on the part of Mr. Cummings by taking these former people that were associated with the war in that instance to bring him to his camp is going to take away from him. So I think Mr. Cummings is playing this game in the wrong fashion. If he wants to up his popularity, there's another route he can take. Taking the former warlord route is not going to help him.
And do you
And
think and do you think it was just by mistake the statement you made that he taking the warlord? No. This is what we call the Ellen Johnson study strategy. I don't know how long Brother Ansu been into Liberian politics, but if you look at the matrix where Liberty Party supported Ellen before and they switched against Ellen, go and look at those matrix. It's not by mistake. Musa Berere in the end will support George Weah. There is nothing
No,
that
no, that one
will
I concede that point, but you got to understand
let
our
me finish
people.
that. Let me finish
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were talking. All right. There's no way that the matrix. One question you want to ask Mr. Cummings today: when he become president, can he openly say, "I'm open to prosecuting Ellen"? He can't
No.
say that. He can't say that. That tells you that you see, Ellen is a very calculative individual. She
and maybe he would
pre-engaged,
say, well, Ellen Day, we're not doing my time.
and that
I
is the
got no
problem.
part to play in it.
And here is where it comes in, right? When Mr. Cummings was brought to Liberia, that honorary degree or honor that Ellen gave to him, it is a bound that she connected him to with all he understanding that it was a bound that he did. So,
so
uh-huh.
if I could just come in quickly, right? I've heard you, Randy, and also Ansu. But I can tell you, and this is not a campaign for a particular candidate. You know, I do not belong to any political party, but we're just discussing here objectively. I have continuously told supporters of Mr. Cummings who have personally reached out to me. I have told them that Mr. Cummings, the likelihood of Mr. Cummings becoming president in 2023, that likelihood is very slim because he's not known in Liberia. Recent polls conducted by media institutions put in the list. The outcome of those polls put in the list. It means he's not known. In 2017, he came third. Okay. So like what we're saying here, this is about Liberia. If you give George Weah another 6 years, if anybody is working behind the scene, as claimed by Randy that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the others are working behind the scene to make sure that Mr. Weah gets re-elected, then it means that the former president and all of those people are not nationalists. They do not love Liberia. Liberia has retrogressed. I mean, this is nothing personal. from the outside, from the inside, you know that the country has retrogressed in every sector of life. And you have a former president reportedly working behind the scene to ensure. Let's forget about Joseph Boakai. Whether Mr. Boakai becomes president or not, making George Weah a one-term president is the most important that all Liberians should be striving for now. Mr. Weah is the common enemy.
That's a foregone conclusion, Mr. Moses. But
I'm
I don't
telling
think
you.
that the
Yes.
political people are looking at that. But I want to respond to my brother Randy entirely.
Yes.
What Randy is not factoring here is the issue of the increase in the voting IQ of the Liberian population. The people look, social media has tremendous influence in what's going to happen. It did not happen in 2017 or the 11th. There's been a shift in the voting population. Most of the young people, the tremendous influence, they like Randy that will have a talk show and speak to our people. So they're not going to vote in the direction that you think anymore. As we claim, look, if you call people in the country, I've been having this personal survey in Liberia. I will talk because a lot of people will get in my inbox. They will call me after, especially some of my shows. They will call, oh, Insu. And I always pose the question, man, who you voted for? You never Joe Weah and say, no, it seems that I cannot find anybody who voted for President Weah. I know they did, some of them did, but they're shying away because they're ashamed of this. So social media having some influence. And you got to also remember the IQ is growing when it comes to voting. So the influence that the likes of Ellingham may not be swayed so easily anymore. People will vote as they please. I'll give it to my brother Randy.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Randy.
you see what you don't understand here is the president of Liberia on Facebook is not a total representation of the population in the country.
I agree.
There are many people who will say, I'm not going to waste my data
Correct.
because you cannot afford limited data. We have unlimited data here. And I can guess that many of the people you speak to, the geographic is mostly Morado County.
Correct.
All right. So that put into question your information you're gathering. Secondly, those who will call you to say, I'm going to lean this way, they are listening to what you say, who you support, and their alliance will follow you. Unless you go in blind. If you want to actually determine who is a true voter, put yourself as an independent, like how I'm doing today. There are a lot of people from left, right that insulting me all the time because I speak the truth. And that
So
was
let me come back to you, Randy, quickly before I even make any comment here. You just said that you're no longer in support of Cummings. Was that a fair statement?
yeah, it's a fair and true statement. And I can repeat myself again. I do not support Mr. Cummings anymore.
And why?
I'll give you a reason.
No,
Why,
no,
Mr.
no.
Yeah,
No,
no,
Randy,
yeah.
Randy is
Moses,
a diehard supporter. And
Moses,
Volcano, quickly, let me just support you on
Moses,
this.
Moses, this is not about Randy right now. This is
No, but
about,
I just want you
yeah,
to elaborate this.
yeah, but it ain't got
Why?
nothing to do with this. I don't want us to sway from
Okay,
where we're
okay.
No,
going.
but I have to give my
We-
reason to your audience, though. I have
Yeah,
to give my
it's
reason to your audience.
important because this man
All
is a
right.
I
prominent
have to give my reason to your audience.
advocate. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
hear from Randy.
Mhm.
All right, you
Why?
see, in life, I'm guided by 3 principles.
Okay.
And that principle applies to everyone here. Everyone over here right now, I believe, live in the United States here. There's no one from any other race that will take advantage of you. You will be seen it as inequality in the society.
Okay.
Whatever wealth that is being distributed in the country, we need some equity distribution that will satisfy us.
Mhm.
Whatever we do, black, white, yellow, green, blue, we need transparency. I don't see the 3 things in the coming administration. And I want you guys to understand that I want there with the we are administration. And what I learned from there is what I call root cause that led me to make this corrective action for myself. When I went to the Communist Party, I went with a guiding principle that I looked and took from George Weah, but it's not in there. Infrastructure. Brother Moses just said something very important, that he don't believe that Cummings stand a better chance in 2023. Why? Because statistics have shown that he's down. When you tell them about those things, they don't believe in you. They don't want to hear that from you.
Okay.
And if you're not willing to accept what someone say through the eyes of transparency, then that is not the place for me to be. I'm not here to waste my time because I know what I came from and I need a better Liberia.
So
I'm
let
telling
me go.
you, I'm here today that what I see. And secondly, Mr. Cummings came with a stone that he said, we can't keep doing the same thing or expect different results. Now he's bringing people in to the party who are hurt other people. How can a man who participated in a government and you bringing him not only as a regular member, but as the face of the party? To me, that is me. Every Nazi who work with Adolf Hitler, whether you are a sweeper, whether you are a janitor, they found you in this country, you're going back home for the fact that you associated themselves. Second chance does not mean an opportunity for a lead role. It's wrong. Why would we tell the people who got victimized? Because when you walk in our country today, especially go in the Grand Bassa Bell, and you ask for the individual, this individual ran twice in his own county, he lost because of how the people perceive him. Prince Johnson, on the other hand, ran in his own county, he got elected twice, depending on how the people perceive him. But the international community will not accept Prince Johnson because of what he did to humanity. Mr. Cummings is coming with that kind of view. I don't stand with that kind of view. Lastly, Mr. Cummings stood in Baltimore, Maryland, and said he is not a perfect person. But what? The perfection depends on two ways: accepting perfection and rejection perfection. Which one it is? When you go through the route of accepted perception, you accept things, but you make sure that you correct it. Rejected perfection means you will reject people who will come to your party to play a lead role, but you can allow them to work in your party. He clearly did not define those things. And for me, I want a better Liberia. And that's why I call myself J. Randy for a better Liberia. A better Liberia that will take into consideration those three principles. I would not lose if Joe Weah takes second term. Mr. Comey will not lose. The supporter in America will not lose. Every one of you guys will not lose. It will just be the regret that the choice you wanted, it wasn't there. And that is where I stand, and that's the difference. People will not like me, but I'm opening a new mind of Liberian that is independent-minded Liberian. So those who are in love with their party, very emotional with the party, and defensive will not look at my equity, my equality, and my transparency because it is not part of that. But you just call one of your boyfriend to call in the N-warrior. They picking up the phone and calling the lawyer. This is not right in this country here, but it's only good for the in Liberia. Sorry to be over the edge.
So let me quickly come in here, and I think he made his point, and I know that some of the communist people will comment. They say Jay Randy is crazy. He's just jumping all around. So I mean, who you going with? You coming to boycott camp now? All the nonsense you were
No,
talking
I will never campaign for boycott. And why?
Okay.
If I campaign for boycott, that means
But man is just pulling your leg, man.
Hold on.
Let me say this: I will never campaign for boycott. The reason I'm saying this is if I do campaign for boycott, that means everything I said about we are that guy elected was lying. I still stand by what I said about we are, even though things are not right. So I cannot go back to boycott. I mean, to support boycott.
Okay, so then how about Gonglo? I'm just
Well,
pulling the leg. I'm coming. Hold on. You for a better Liberia.
Yeah.
And the alternative, I know you don't want we have to be a second-term president. I know that. I personally
to decide.
But I can see it in your face.
But
I can see it in your face. So I'm coming, Moses. Moses. Yeah, your time now. Let me have my own little 1 minute. So yeah, I can see it. But the opposition alternative is the only alternative to remove we have from power.
That's true.
You've already ruled up boycott. You've already ruled up Cummings. I don't know who else. So you're just gonna be on your own one-man army.
My role here is to tell all voters those three things I told you. If you believe that someone should persuade you to say vote for the president, the question you want to ask is if the person that you asking me to support, if the person loses, where do I stand? Do I stand to lose what? Mr. Comey made a comment also too that is very discouraging. He said that he will not waste his resources or spend more time in campaigning in districts across the country. That is something that the opposition can use against him. I never heard all the time all the time Donald Trump was campaigning. I never heard Donald Trump saying to black communities, I'm not going there. It is the media that will come out to say this thing, but not the political candidate. Yeah. No. So he dropped the ball. And when you try to create that understanding, people turn against you. Look at all these guys. These guys will never tell you say the races here. But you know they are. All right? There is no time where any candidate, the greatest country on the field of play that practice the highest democracy, for one of them to say, I'm not going down there because I think the people will not campaign for me. Mitt Romney lost to President Weah in the second term when you were
now we are
to Obama rather.
Obama.
Really quick question for you. Some of the ANC are saying because Mr. Cummings did not return your call and you were kicked out of a chat room, is that why you're mad?
That's a very valid question. The chat room I was kicked out of is not the ANC chat room. It was a gentleman who I assisted. All right, a gentleman who been trying to see Mr. Cummings since February of this year, and he only got to see Mr. Cummings in September. of last month, and we gave him $400. He invited me into his chat room. One of the ANC non-cooperative individual went in there and asked him to take me out of his chat room, and I posted that online. I was never taken out of ANC chat room. All right, yeah, it's ANC chat room right here. All right, you see here, I got 143 messages. I don't read it. So send they want to prove things, I will prove it to them beyond every reasonable that. You see the ANC Sonny there?
Yeah, we see it. Yeah.
135 messages.
Let's
I'm
rotate.
still
Let's
in there.
rotate, guys. Let's rotate the
All
conversation.
right.
All right,
So
so let me just
so that
quickly.
is completely false. All
Okay.
right. And here's the reason here. District 17 and District 11. My strategy for Mr. Cummings. I told Mr. Cummings that I'm going to make you more popular from from July to December. We established a radio station program where we brought in people who speak the vernacular to push Mr. Cummings' vision. My role was to do an assessment of the 17th district. District 11 and District 17 called on my show several times and said Mr. Cummings doesn't have a presence in our community. I said, this is wrong. He been in Morris County for a very long time. I text Mr. Cummings on that Thursday, said, Mr. Cummings, we got a problem, because he told me wherever you have problem, get back to me. I sent that message to Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings never responded to me up to today, this week, Friday, going to make it 1 month, 2 weeks. He never did. So
Okay.
is that the transparency? Is that thing? I don't work like that. If Mr. Cummings was in Coca-Cola today and his CEO say, I will respond to you, he will follow up. I did a lot of follow up. But you see, Liberian support is based on love. When you love the opposition, you're talking for them, they clap for you. When you start to make things real to them, then they turn against you. So I'm not here to listen to ANC. I'm here to
Okay.
tell you guys that Mr. Cummings is not running to be president in 2023. He's running to make himself popular for 2029. But he also said on LPR radio that he might not run if he loses this election. And I have that audio for you guys.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Listen,
Yes.
Moses is at intermission right now. If
Yeah.
all of you who are joining us here tonight, this is the 99th edition of the Issues Room. The Issues Room is our social media alternative platform here discussing Liberia, the things of Liberia, the African continent, and the Black diaspora. This evening, I have Ansu Dwalu from he holds a every Sunday message to the legatees of Liberia. It's a podcast that he does. Jay Randy for a Better Liberia. He holds his own political platform. He addresses, the situations in the country, particularly the political aspect of who's going to be the next leader for our country. Moses and I are colleagues here in the issues room. Our broadcast is on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And those of you in the Greenwich time zone is 11 p.m. I'd like to invite you, share the link, invite others to come here. The way we talk here is not just the ordinary talking. We analyze, we bring to book, we hold ourselves accountable, we stay professional, irrespective of the disagreement, the conversation is still great. The only unfortunate thing here tonight, I don't know what's happening to the Facebook page of the issues room. I'm not seeing the comments, and so some of these things I cannot address. It's unfortunate, but it's technology. We'll look into it and see what happens for our next production. Again, we
I want
want
to
to
address a
encourage
couple
you.
of things, if you don't mind me,
Yeah,
Shelton. My brother Randy did say Mr. Cummings said he's not
I
going to
just wanted to quickly say that I'll be opening the lines in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The number will be posted 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808. Call in and contribute to the conversation here tonight. Go ahead, Ansel.
This is why, for me personally, I support a political parties. I mean, a political individual. I support their vision and I support the individual. People tend to be more emotional in that way. But I believe Mr. Cummings is running a political organization. If he makes a decision and that decision rubs you wrongly, I don't think getting away from that organization is the best route to go. Now, Randy did mention that Mr. Cummings said he was not going to campaign in certain sector of the country because of waste of resources. He's not the first person who's mentioned that, but I've never heard it. I don't know if Randy can chat in for like 30 seconds. Did he actually say that he was not going to campaign in certain sector of the country?
Yeah, but not sector to say. He said, I would not, I mean, waste, because he said there are 73 districts within the country. I don't know where he got that geographic from. but it's yet to be verified by me.
There are 73 districts, yes.
All right. So followed by that, he said there are some districts that he believes will not vote for him automatically, according to him. Therefore, he will not spend much time, much resources in there. And then he did give an example of where Boca coming from. Boca time, I know they might not vote for me, so I'm not going to waste my time. But there is a time right between Bon County and Lufa where he thinks they will vote for him. He will spend a lot of resources. And I was like, this is absolutely wrong. He shouldn't be saying these things here, because even if they will not vote for him, there are percent of people who still love him in there. And that's why I made the conclusion. I said, oh, no wonder why. When I told you about District 17 and District 11, that's why he never called me back. Because
okay, really, I agree. I mean, I would concede that I don't think that is true, because I don't think it would be a very political savvy move to make on the part of Mr. Cummings if he did say that. I think it would be a foolish comment.
I had the video here because my own I quit to download things because people
okay. If Mr. Cummings did say that, then I'll be completely shocked, because it will be a foolhardy thing to do, especially in the political campaign. I mean, if you want to redistribute, any political operative will redistribute the resources based on certain segment of the country, but you're not going to come out and say
exactly. That's my point. That is my point. That's the strategy behind the line, not offline, but not in the forefront. Because even in Texas,
I don't know that for a fact. For me, I never heard it.
Yeah, even in Texas, the Republican would not tell you that we're not going to California to campaign, because they know there are a handful of people who will be willing to welcome them. So they don't say the kind of thing. So the question is, what he said, then what happened to the little support that he got in that community? People going to look at it and say, he's not even coming here to waste his time here. And that has an election decision impact.
And I never heard it. I want to see that.
And quickly, if I can just pick it back on that, if it is true that Mr. Cummings said that, then I would consider that a political suicide. First thing, Mr. Cummings, whether we like it or not, whether the ANC people like it or not, Mr. Cummings politically is not popular in Liberia.
That's the fact.
I mean, it's evident this. This is not Moses saying he's saying it. That's what the data shows. Politically, Alexander Cummings is not a popular person in Liberia.
Let me come in there, right? Because when I met Mr. Cummings in Florida,
yes,
I had an interaction with Mr. Cummings one-on-one, and that photo was taken. I told Mr. Cummings, I'm not here to support you as a partisan, because when I become a partisan of yours, I will be falling under your command and control, not directly from you, but from the infrastructure. I'm going to come here as an independent. And I said, when I get back home, I want to make sure that you get more popular from now to December. And guess what I did? I was up in the morning, 3 a.m. on Hot FM. When I'm on my way to work, pushing his name. When I come home, guess what CDC started doing? They started putting my name here and there. Started putting my name here and there, because they knew. When I came back, I called the boss in the CDC. I said, what is going on with Mr. Cummings? Why he's not popular? Many of them, Banga, Buchanan, most of them, they lie. They say he doesn't even have color gladiator. The color gladiator of our time is like the way we hear. The moment the number is put up, people calling to tear whoever is saying anything about Joshua. He doesn't have that. When I try to push these things, the communication arm, Brother Dwalo, you will be surprised. They don't believe in inclusiveness. They don't believe in your ideology.
These people are, most of Comey supporters tend to be highly educated. For you to think, for you to say the way they are behaving there, it surprises me.
It is. You will never taste the wine you will never know the taste of the wine until you get to see it. They are very, look, I don't know where they say how many there, but I'm part of the policy team. The policy team is an offline stuff. Very good guys. Very, very good guys. The policy team. Okay. But the media team.
All right. So let's take this caller.
Towards things.
Let's take this caller. The caller is from New Jersey, 6494. You gotta lower your monitor, please.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening. Yeah. Welcome to the issues room. Can you just hold? Hold it quick. Let me just put the next caller in queue. The caller from 3776 Maryland, please hold. I'll come back to you. Please hold. I'll come back to you. All right. The caller from Jersey, 6494. Your name?
Yeah, my name is T. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Welcome, welcome. Let's push this quick.
Yeah, hi, good evening, fellows. This is my problem, okay? I'm sitting here listening to Randy, okay? I will only address Randy because that's what I call him. I'm sitting here listening to Randy, okay? Randy is a hypocrite. Now, I will tell you why.
Okay.
This was the same man who were talking, Comey already have the thing in the bag. He just got to learn how to do so and so. Once I'm working with him, I will do this. And this is very bad because he said he called Mr. Cummings and Mr. Cummings never returned his call. Randy want Mr. Cummings to drop everything and focus the attention on him. It don't work like that. When I say I'm supporting somebody, me personally, if I go behind somebody, I got hope and believe in you. I don't mind whether you recognize me or you don't recognize me. If I'm doing it for my country, I will stand with you. Randy has a problem.
All
Not
right.
only that, and I'm saying that, hold on.
Okay.
He can insult me when you
No.
finish.
Randy, when I insult you, I just
Well,
want
he did it
to.
before.
No, hold on, man.
Randy
Listen.
insulted Azava the last time when that thing happened with the book. Randy hoped to have been the chief of staff or whatever. Randy sitting here, there was the same man who put George Weah in power, and there was the same man who money basically came up between him and George Weah. It was a big thing on Facebook. Now you jump behind Mr. Cummings. Just because Mr. Cummings don't single you out to be a right-hand man to call here and there. This man is very busy. If you really care about your country, you will work with him. But obviously you're not. You're hustling around to see who will take to the higher bidder. But if you say Mr. Cummings will not win, this is my thing. Let Mr. Cummings run like run for all of us. May the best person win. Who know him or who don't know him, it's okay. If people want their life to change and they want better life, they will do the right thing. If they won't go back to the same thing, they can put your wheel back. But you will not determine Mr. Cummings presidency. Randy, I'm talking to you. It's a bad behavior.
Thank
Your
you now.
attitude is like you're so angry.
All
Let
right.
it go.
Okay.
Before you let it go.
All right.
Thank you.
Can you just listen to me
Thank,
before you hang up?
thank you, Gloria.
All right, she's gone. Okay. I'll come to you, caller 3776. But I think let me just put this next caller in queue quick. Um, the caller from California 8667. Please hold. I'll come back to you. Please hold. Let me go to the caller in queue. I will hold my thought and come back to that thought. Or better still, I'll just say, if Randy is accurate about 1 month that Mr. Cummings has not reached out to him since he reached out to him and has been burning his own personal resources to propagate the message of Cummings, then I have a serious problem. Cummings is not even president yet, and he can't reach out to the people that put in their images and character on the line. I mean, let's be practically honest here now. I don't think Randy looking for jobs from Cummings, but it's just that
No, man.
courtesy, if even that
Yeah.
acknowledgement, But we'll come back to that. We can't continue to justify people being so busy. If you're too busy, then you can't be president for Liberia. President of business.
Especially
Let me
for
go to
someone who is
3776.
propagating your
Caller.
messages, man.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm great. What's your name?
This is Theola.
All right. Welcome to the Issues Room. Thanks for joining us.
So Randy is not speaking the truth.
Okay.
When Randy said that somebody told people to take him out of the chat room, that chat room is called Southeast for Cummings chat room. He was talking about me. I did not ask anybody to take him out of the chat room. Somebody in the chat room made a statement. I went in the chat room and I apologized to the person for for the way things were going. And I said to the person, but the way things are now, everything has been taken care of. Randy came and started to attack me in the chat room. And the young men in the chat room started to say, this man is causing too much noise. He is disrespecting our mother. Y'all take him out of the chat room. I told Mark Constance not to take Randy out of the chat room. Mark sent me a message. He said, Mommy, I'm sorry, but I am taking him out because he's causing too much problems in the chat room. Okay?
Okay.
So Randy must speak the truth.
But he did speak the truth. He said it was a guy.
No. He said that somebody want to come in. A person told him to take him out of the chat room. No, nobody told him to take him out of the chat room. It was the young people that said take him out of the chat room. I told them not to take him out. I said because if you take him out,
you're putting him by now.
It will look that kind of way. The next, you know what Randy did the next that day? He had a whole show on my name. He even blocked me on Facebook. Randy came into ANC with ideas. We appreciate his ideas. But Randy also needs to understand that come into an organization and the organization has a way of doing things. You have to watch and see how the organization runs.
Mhm.
And you can put in your input here, there, and say, hey, you're doing things this way. Maybe we need to do it this way and whatnot. But you can't come and impose your views on the people. And when they don't listen to you, then you take to the airway and start to say all kinds of
Denigrating.
negative things, denigrating things, and negative things about them. You can't do that because
Okay.
when you do that, then people are going to start calling you flip flopper. It's me. He even blocked me on Facebook. And before this happened, the Thursday before then, I spent 1 hour on the phone with Randy trying to explain things to Randy as to how things work. But you know what he wanted me to do? To come on his show with Mark Constant and debate with Mark Constant on his show to prove that Mark was lying or that I was lying. And I'm not going to do that with the kids that have so much respect for me. And I told him that. And he said, well, if you don't come on my show, then I have nothing to say to you. So Randy needs to speak the truth.
Okay. Thank you so much for the clarification. We'll come back to Randy. Let's take the next caller. The caller from California, 8667. Are you still there? Hello, caller from California, 8667. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, just hold 1 second. Let me put the caller in queue from Minnesota. The caller from Minnesota, 4884. Please hold. I'll come back to you. 4884. Please hold. I will come back to you. Caller from Minnesota, please hold. The caller from California, 8667. Go ahead. Your
Thank
name.
you. My name is Jonathan Taya Dolake, and I called from California, as you rightly say. I'd like to say thanks to all of you panelists, on the issues in the room.
Yeah.
I
There are plenty issues in the room tonight.
I know,
God, I let it with my man Randy. Just cool. The
No,
man
but
yeah,
Randy
ticket
is
up early.
monitoring.
My
Yeah,
man,
he's
keep
yeah,
the
monitoring.
ticket up top on top. I beg you.
yeah. But importantly,
Yeah.
whether government, whether religious institution, whether corporate world, when you want to function professionally, you have to keep most of the conversation of suggestion in the background
Behind the scene.
to make up the decision. My grandfather told me, he said, when you go to a forum or a conversation with people, your idea that you put on the floor is no longer belonging to you. It is the intent of that idea making up buying the intelligence of your colleagues so that they buy into it and it become marketable and it tend to be a decision making. So when you put your idea forth, you cannot clinch on it. Why do you do it? That you persuade your colleague to see reason and sense in your argument.
All right, my man, you're being a little philosophical now. Let's hit the nail.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm saying to my brother Jay Rennie,
Okay.
nobody, and people make politics because of bad governance in our country, interacting with political activities or being part of political party, it appears like something that no one should do. It's not a good thing. We are deceptive. We are not good people. We don't stand for anything. And so people try to claim that when they are independent, they are better off than when they are political party. We understand the hiccups, that we don't have institutional capacity. We are not institutionalized as political parties, but at the same time, it is a learning curve. And that is why it is not a Puritan group of people that are seeking perfection. So when you come to the process, you proffer your idea here and there, we can have conversation about it. So the issue of Lofa County, Mr. Cummings have been engaged in Lofa County extensively. There are projects that Mr. Cummings are carrying on in that place there. So to say that he does not think that Lofa is a point of focus, I think the context that he might have been speaking in on the J. Renegade play was not as it has been presented. The other issue that was raised again about ABC communication, Mr. Cummings had never been a traditional politician. That is why today you will see that what's his name? The guy at the EPA, his name will come, Professor Wilson Tappe. As a political figure, he has a newspaper. Many of the political actors, either they got newspaper or the party people got newspaper and radio station. Alex Cummings is not known for that. People are suggested to you need to get radio station, you need to do this, you need to do that. But he's not that traditional person, and that feels that until I can get this, I will not be heard or my ideas will not be bought. He believes that other people can play other role, and he himself too can play other role, all to help to forward the march of our country. What I can say here is that the burden of George Weah misshifted government have been shifted on many of the opposition leaders. And it appears that it is too much burden for the opposition to present themselves in a perfect manner. And I accept it in good faith because Liberia deserves better. I accept it because for 100+ years, we have made little gains than the level of drawbacks we have had as a country. So it places burden on the next government to work prudently, even before taking on the helm of power, but to start to take on meaningful decisions that the people can clearly see that indeed they will do better. So all of the suggestions, we take it in good stride. All we can say, we are human, we are Liberians. This requires all of us assistance. That's why I respect Dualo and his analysis at different level. I don't know what I'm pronouncing his name rightly, but I really respect him. He come with an open understanding, and we all need to chip in order to make this thing work. If it doesn't work, it affects all of us. Even if you live in like America, some kind of way, somehow, maybe one of your relatives will go to GFK and they'll get disappointed, and you will be crying.
Let me take the next caller on the line.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take the next caller quick. The caller from Minnesota, 4884. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks for your patience. Your name?
My name is McDonough Flobanyako, calling from Minnesota. I want to ask my brother Randy.
Can you just hold? I got a caller calling from Michigan. Let me put him in queue quick. The caller from Michigan, 4504. Please mute. I'll rather lower your monitor. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you right after the caller from Minnesota. Just hold the line. Minnesota?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
About our brother Randy, he contradicted himself. The last time he was on the show with Moses, he said on the show, he said he's not going to work for anybody for free. You have to pay him. Anybody want to run a campaign, you pay him. And now he says he's an independent voice. So I want to ask him this question. Knowing that, according to him, Mr. Booker, he is not qualified to be president. In case you gave money to run a campaign, will you establish money to run a campaign knowing that he's not qualified? And you still let on your show that you want to run campaign for someone that pays you. And I'm asking you now this question. Will you run a campaign for him knowing that he's not qualified?
Okay, so
they go to all the political parties. They go to Mr. Come here, give money. Will you run a campaign?
All right, he will answer that question later on. Thank you so much. Quickly, the caller from Michigan, 4504. Are you still there?
Yes.
Your name?
Vafi Cover.
Welcome to the show. You're following the conversation. What's your take?
Yeah, my take is that I just want to say something to my brother Randy, my trusty brother. He probably don't know me personally, but we are living in the same community on 12th Street. But here's the thing about Randy. And Randy, my brother, look, you're a very smart, intelligent man. I follow you. But, the way in which sometimes you go about doing things, first you are supporting CDC. I believe you went, I don't know if you went to Volcano, I don't know now you went to Cummings. My thing is consistency, and sometimes when you supporting any group or any political leader, your ideas may be the best, but maybe they may not be ready for what you're suggesting, what you're putting forward. Maybe they're just not ready for it right now. That doesn't mean that your ideas is bad. Or to say that Mr. Cummings, because I heard one of your shows that you're going saying that Mr. Cummings didn't call you, or Joy, we had never called you. Sometimes they may not call you. If you're doing things for your country, do it because that's what you're passionate about. To make a change. If you believe that somebody can make a change, whether it's George Weah, whether it's Boyka, whether it's Mr. Comey, if you believe in them and you believe they can make the change, continue doing what you do and not looking to beat your chest. Look at me, I got this idea, I'm brilliant, I'm so. And the last thing I want to say is that the independent thing. People that go around talking saying they're independent. Look, guys, there is no such thing as independent in Africa. You can either support George Weah, Boyka, or Cummins, especially in Liberia election. Liberia is the poorest country in the world. For every metric, we are the worst. So I guess who will be sitting on any platform, anywhere in the world in Liberia, say they're independent. And anybody tells you they're independent, to me, except if you're in the media where you are a journalist because you don't want to say out.
Oh no, I was about to say that, brother. We're very independent here. I got no political.
Yeah.
If you're a journalist, that's a whole different idea. But they Randy, they dwell in. These guys, you cannot sit there and say you're independent.
A businessman.
You cannot sit there and say you're independent. There's election, everybody must support somebody. And you must make it known because you get followers, you got people that follow you. So whether you support George Weah, whether it's Comey, whether it's Boyka, Dwalo, they Randy, and the other gentlemen, Fontana, I know you're a journalist, just you're on a whole different level. But you cannot sit and say you're independent. Africa we are poor. Every metric you think about, Liberia is worse. Then how can you sit and say you're independent? You're independent on what? Bring your independent ideas bring your independent idea to one the political leader and try to work with them. Find common ground. Find something what you guys can relate on. They may not agree with you on everything.
Thank you.
You see, but bring your ideas somewhere so we can work and move our country forward.
Thank you.
So all these people that are saying they're independent, they just self-centered, selfish, and egotistical. That's all it is.
Thank you.
So, Volcano, quickly, let me just take this time to correct this gentleman. I was speaking. My name is Moses Sandy. I'm a career broadcast journalist.
Hey,
If you can prove otherwise, if you can prove otherwise that I have a political leaning with any candidate or any political
But the man said that, the man didn't
no,
just.
he said we are not independent. I'm saying that I am independent.
Okay, bosses.
I do not support any political party or I have no lineage. But if he can prove otherwise, let him adduce the evidence. Thank you.
Oh, my man, you're not easy to know. The man,
Oh no, I mean sometimes
Okay.
gotta set the record straight. Yeah.
I said the issues room has no political affiliation. That makes Moses Sandy and Volcano
Shelton.
no more political affiliation. And both of us are career journalists. So that makes the case.
Me, I get political affiliation.
Yeah. So Randy, let's come back.
Let Randy.
Let me just take that last guy. The guy funny question. I like it. He said, "A burger come to you now and pay you," even though he said burger will not qualify. You're not take the money and compete for him.
Yeah, so I took note here extensively.
Yeah,
because I'm going to put myself in the role that I'm trained to be in America here, because we Liberian, when we're in the women world, we behave good. But when we get to Liberia, things turn around and everyone will agree. Okay. So I took note here, and what I can say just by listening to everyone, and you will get to see how attached their defense is. For the most part, everyone came straight at me. So that means that I really went and stirred the dirty waters and got to know that there was some muddy fish under the water there. So let me do from bottom to top, all right? So the brother called Brother Vavi, let me tell you a story about him, right? Maybe you remember the story. Growing up on 12th Street, they used to come from somewhere they called downtown to come and play us on 12th, on the south, talk about how behind the honest there. And this day they were leading our team and I was sleeping. And when they called me, the shot I took, he was the goalie. He had to bend down for
the sleeping
and you brought a veteran out there, my man.
Yes. So and this is almost like over 30 years ago now. So maybe you remember, But that's just the story. But he's a very nice guy. I know him. But let's come back to what he said. First of all, when he talked about independence, what he don't understand, our politics is very electric to all Liberians. In this country here, we have Democrat, Republican, and independence. I'm trying to introduce that. Am I going to be successful? No. I'm going to try to bring that to light because it gave you independent on how you perceive and see things. So when he said there's no independence, and then he doesn't understand how things can transform to become what. It came a time nobody believed that they were going to be cell phone ever. No. All right. But it did happen. Now, when he talked about everybody must, I differ with him on that. I keep hearing people saying, Mr. Cummings call, Mr. Cummings call. Let me start with him and explain the issue here. When I came from Florida, Mr. Cummings, while in Florida, asked for my number. I didn't ask for his number. He asked for my number. And then when I returned, one Sunday after, he calls me and thanked me for attending the program and specifically said to me, if you have any issue, get back to me. He didn't say when you get any issue, call this person here. He specifically told me when you have any issue, call back to me. All right. Now, Mr. Cummings had been texting me back and forward. And usually when someone starts to text you, you follow the pattern. I hear people say, you say, you call Mr. Cummings, Mr. Cummings, then I call you. These are people who put lies together and go out there. So let's just cancel that out. There was no time that I called Mr. Cummings. I had no more right now. I can call him anytime. But did he tell me to call him? Absolutely not. And I have to follow the moral ethics as someone who is well measured. I could call him his own WhatsApp, but I never called him. What I did was I sent him text. Now, let's come to the guy from Minnesota, I think Madonna Flomo, who said, when anybody, you see, he didn't follow through on the question. The question here is, will you support anybody? I said phase one, because I divided into 3 phases. Phase one, when I campaigned for George, I spent my own money, and I was doing it voluntarily. When I joined Mr. Cummings, it was an independent support. What did I do? You, Volcano, said, Randy wasted his energy. Randy wasted this. So I figured, I said, okay, you know what? If I'm giving the people free time, it's time now for them to pay me for my knowledge now. So right now, I'm in my 3rd phase. And my 3rd phase, I found my corrective action now.
Hold 1 second. Hold 1 second. The caller from New Jersey, 2492, please hold till Randy finishes his thoughts, and I'll come back to you quick. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I learned by incremental order and making changes. Mr. Weird Time, volunteer, spend my own money. Never want a job. I got the audio, the video, everything. Mr. Cummings, volunteer. Utilize my energy and stuff. The 3rd phase now is, all right, gentlemen, I have to make myself now, like brother said, I have to put my foot down now. So I'm putting my foot down now. Anybody who needs me now, 1, make sure I have my 3 guiding principles when you're calling me. If I don't see it, I will not support you. 2, I will support anybody who need my logic. Because like somebody said, somebody's going to win. Is that not a fair thing to do? But during my recruitment process, I'm not just going to recruit anybody or anybody that's going to recruit me. If I see a hanky-panky party that say, oh, come and support me, don't waste your money. I'm not going to give you my strategy because I'm not going to help you. So my recruiting process to give my strategy to anybody will not just be an open. I'm a salesman. You will see the big sign. Oh, come and get a new car, 50% down or 2% down. When you get and start to see the detail, you'll be like, oh, geez. So that is something I'm trying to establish here, right? So I went through phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. But when to your question, will I campaign for anybody? Yes, I will campaign. But guess what? They will pay for my brain to go and use it. Nothing free in the world. I don't know why he work in Minnesota, where he doing free work. I can invite here to my state that he can do a lot of free work here. There's nothing free in America except for elevator. And I'm learning that they will soon have charging people to put quarter in there to carry you up. Now let's come to
yeah, that one. Ready now, bust the plastic down.
That one got a lot of info, man.
So let me say this: the brother Jonathan Tolaker, I can say this: if I had met Jonathan Tolaker, you see, when Mr. Cummings took that photo with me, it was an introduction to the ANC share responsibility, right? You see, the next thing about CDC, when you photo out Mr. Weir back in the days, CDC would take responsibility and take charge of you to assign you that people relationship. When I took that photo with Mr. Cummings, my expectation was to have the media team and say, oh, we know this guy, he got his own show. Why don't we carry the guy on all our different platforms and introduce him and say, hey, hello, Randy, welcome to the show, welcome to the party, whatever you have. None of that. There's no video evidence I show. Only one guy came out, and that guy is Duke. I will always thank you. He came on my show once in a while to tell me thank you. I gave you that credit because of his personal discipline. The rest did not do none of those things. Dolacare came in last into town when I started complaining, right? And I said, Dolacare, if I knew who you were, I wouldn't have been going out there broadcasting things to get attention. He is a good guy, but I think the way he was strategically put in the party did not give him that opportunity for me to engage him. Like I said, I was part of the regulatory team. Those guys work in the back end. And then never a time that you saw me or heard me come here and talking about those people because they are very measured. So Dollar Care engagement, it's just that we have some differences. And as you listen to him, he talked about people. I mean, I'm not going to call him red, but he talked about people bringing different government official into the party or ex-official. He must have had a conversation where I said, I cannot take Daniel Chie. I cannot work with Daniel Chie. He did something bad in this country. I mean, in Liberia. I can work with him in this country here. There are people who do some nasty thing. They cannot work with them. Here I went on that. We hang on the call, but he's still a very good guy. I think
So
he got
one.
potential.
So you got one more person.
Now let me come to
the lady.
Yeah, let me come to the lady called
Tiola.
Well, I think Fiola.
Tiola.
Yeah, Tiola. First of all, let me start with her. She's looking for relevant. I was introduced to her by Asif Atuba. No one knows who she is. The very institution she's talking about is the same institution that I told you. Look,
You know what do? Let's just take the last caller from Q. Hold that.
Okay.
Hold the
All
lady.
right. Okay.
Yeah. Caller.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, New Jersey 249.
Yeah.
To your name.
Yeah. This is Abraham. You guys calling from New Jersey. I was just let to say something, about to Randy. Randy or Randy. I can't pronounce his name. You see this guy, he was the one that even he went on the radio and said that Darrell Dillon was going to be one of the best men to replace George Weah in the future, but not Costa. And he praised Darrell Dillon. When time came, he jumped from behind Darrell Dillon. He started giving a whole lot of insult to Darrell Dillon on the campaign. This is the same man again that went on another show and see a whole lot of things about Boakai. From there, he jumped behind Kumi. In a few days, we learned that he had left from. He started seeing a lot of things about Kumi because Kumi campaign team they have, some MPFL leader. So I don't know where the guy is going. I don't know who he actually want to be in power in Liberia. I don't know because I mean you cannot understand him.
So he
the
is.
Man, he just Idi Amin.
Oh, man,
he just Idi Amin Dada.
So listen.
I mean,
follow the man. The man just said his differences has nothing to do with Mr. Cummings in particular. It has to do with the ANC. And he's been expounding on these things. So just follow him. He says now his role is for a better Liberia. So yeah. So
I don't know. He's always saying better Liberia, better Liberia. I don't know who's gonna bring the better Liberia because all the people he condemning. I mean, I don't see except he want to be the president.
Okay, all right. Let me go back
thank
to
you
Randy.
very much.
Thank you.
All right.
So Randy, that one just go to the woman. Forget about that one.
No, that one is very easy. You see, Liberians. Most Liberians live in present memory. The Darrell Dillon issue here is, I said Darrell Dillon could become a good president, but if Dillon can answer for me, how did the Liberty Party manage to bring into being those two-legged motorcycle, along with the pickup truck? If he can verify those things, then of course Darrell Dillon will become someone that I can support. But he decided to exclude that because he wants to make a point. But later doesn't know that in here there is a reservoir of present, past, and future memory here. I did not say that. Now he mentioned about Boakai. Where have I ever talk about Joseph Boakai here? And, so is he adding something that make no sense to that? No. So like you said to him, many of them don't follow me. They only come, take something and want to make point, but they know that Jay Rennie has the reservoir. And now let's come to
let's close on this woman. Let's just do quick 2 minutes, Randy, because we gotta come back to the conversation.
I'm not going to be detailed because this is very sensitive here, right?
Yeah.
Viola will not see me anytime on Facebook because of what I'm about to tell you, and I want you to understand this, right?
Plus, remember, keep it respectful,
No, what are you talking about? I've been on my website since 1998. I'm a very respectful man. All right. I don't want to just make sure I set the record straight here, right? All right. So I met her through Asiva Atopa, who introduced her to me. And I said, welcome. She said, thank you. All the time I have been broadcasting my show, she never been on my show. She had always been on Spoon. Many times when she comes to the show, I try to joke with her and say, you guys must follow Mr. Cummings' show. because you got to support your own. That's how the relationship started between she and myself, and we have conversation in the back end. Now, this very gentleman they call Mark Constant, he came to me and said, Randy, I want to be on your show. And I said, for what? He said, I like the way you analyze things. And I brought him on my show on a Saturday. And he told me things that I never knew about. How they got 5 counties in the Southeast. They're trying to bring the youth together. But they have been very challenging in meeting Mr. Cummings. There were some beautiful ladies on the ANC program, from the ANC, that followed me. We generated $400 for that young man. $400 on the spot. And the young man went out there. The next thing I know, Theodore came and started explaining to me, oh, we got our procedure here. I said, look, I'm not here for all those things. This man is scheduled to meet Mr. Cummings at the end of the September month. We had an interview on the 24th. The county roads are very bad. And he said Mr. Cummings referred him to what the lady name or they get always on Spoon. I said it will be very short. They got from Monday to Thursday.
You're talking Mariah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they don't
Mariah.
if Mariah don't release that money, because he said they needed $1,500 to bring the people. I said Monday is going to be the 26th. If they don't get the people by Thursday, it will not be possible. Guess what? The program will cancel on that day. The next morning I got on the boss said, oh, Mr. Cummings is not going to meet us. So I started engaging them. Theodore came in the box and started to comment that, oh, we got process in America here. Well, we got to move money here and there. I said, look, I appreciate what you're saying right now, right? The way money are distributed in Liberia, you should be thinking on the strategy there. Forget about the American thing here. That's how the conversation started. The next thing I know, I got kicked out of the room. I'm not here to waste your time. She asked somebody to come and talk to me. I told that person, let she be in that concentration camp. She will not be released to come on my show. Let she be in there. Now, the first lady I called and said, oh, I'm a hypocrite, I'm a this. Look, I get on people's skin. The truth hurt, but it helps. All right? I tell them the truth, and they don't like it. And there's no time that I say, I call Mr. Cummings. When I sent a message to Mr. Cummings, it was Mr. Cummings who told me I will call you back 3 p.m. GMT time. It said okay for you. That's the last thing I will ever do based on confidentiality. I will never reveal that information. It's on my phone here. I responded to him and said, yes, it will be okay. In my office, every 11 o'clock, we got our team's management meeting. I took my call from the office because usually we'll go in the conference room and sit down. 11 o'clock, no call from Mr. Cummings. 11:15, no call. 11:30. And on my show, I assure the people in Liberia, because many of them call and said, you get us George Weah. And I told them, I said, look, whatever I'm doing for Mr. Cummings, if it doesn't come to fruition, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I will not run Mr. Cummings' campaign. One thing I want to tell Liberians, I'm a Liberian. I don't think I'm a Liberian. I don't think I'm a Liberian. If I tell you something, you please believe me. Because I'm not joking with it.
Thank you.
I'm not joking
Let's
with
come in. Let's come in now. Let's
I'll run my case on that. And thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I want to say this though, Randy, and this is just an advice from a brother to another brother. When you go to an organization, you conform to the wishes of the organization. The organization does not conform to you. Mr. Cummings has the last say in our organization. Yes, you're coming to help, but it cannot sway your way. You have to sway to the way of the organization.
But you see what you don't understand here, you're talking about conformity, you're talking about IKEA. Where's the IKEA value in the ANC? There are many times that I made all the query before I even came to the break point. And no one called you here to say, Brother Dwalo, we tried talking to Randy on the issue he had. How many of them said it? None of them.
Well, it's a whole lot deeper than that. But I know I'm about to close.
Yeah.
And I want to say this because we have a lot more people there initially. I still believe, and I wholeheartedly still believe, Mr. Cummings has a tremendous amount to offer to Liberia.
Mr. Cummings is a very good person, but he's been destroyed by the people around him. It happened.
I would not say that. He's a groomed man, and we make a decision.
I don't see the maturity in Mr. Cummings right now. I don't see it.
So John, let me just say this quickly.
But let's
Volcano.
Balu got caught off, Moses. Let me just finish.
Okay.
My thing is,
yeah,
Mr. Cummings has tremendous amount of things to offer to Liberia. I believe this man's expertise. Initially, I supported Mr. Cummings, but I don't believe Mr. Cummings can win elections in Liberia, given what we know, given the kind of numbers we see in the country now. Some people may not like the analytics that I've been put out there, and I've given my reason. They can see the tip from the beginning. But I believe Mr. Cummings can leverage tremendous position if he tries to team up with an alliance in the country that can up his visibility in that country. Because to transition from 7% into where Mr. Cummings wants to be is far-fetched right now for me. I don't see it the way our people think. Now, if Liberia was a society that was thinking at a very high level, let's say our literacy rate was around 85%, I can see Mr. Cummings becoming president now. But as it stands, I don't see that under any circumstance. And I will give it to you guys.
Yeah, and Eduardo, I think the four of us on this talk show tonight, we are all in agreement on that. That Mr. Cummings' dream of becoming president in 2023 is far-fetched. He's the least when we talks about data out there.
So Moses, let me just throw this at you. Take this quick now.
Yes.
With what Randy reviewed regarding the former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf putting her hand on the Cummings and rocking him in the cradle of the populace by bringing on board some of her personal cronies and young people who worship her. Accordingly, there are more names to come. Do you see that possibility?
Yeah, what I can say of Volcano, honestly speaking,
because we are came to power through her influence.
Yeah, I'm rather disappointed to hear that. But if we got people in Liberia who are nationalists, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not Liberia. She cannot decide for the people of Liberia. And there is not a campaign for the former vice president. All we are saying, Liberia has one common enemy now. And that common enemy is George Weah. Re-electing George Weah in 2023 will retard Liberia's progress. Mr. Weah has failed Liberia in every sector of life. So I'm so disturbed to even hear that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, or the former president will reportedly harbor the thought that this man should be re-elected. Then it means that she's not a nationalist. Forget about Joseph Weah. Joseph Boakai. This is about Liberia. So the former president should be mobilizing support for a better change in Liberia, but
so
not
this
to
is
retain George Weah.
So, but then Moses, then I think you the case here to be made. If we want to be critically honest, then let's come back to the drawing board. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want Weah, so she's now going at the best alternative between Boakai and Cummings.
No, she
I'm coming.
She wants Weah.
Do you think she wants Weah again?
Of course, you heard Randy. That's the strategy.
But it's also not the fact. Because in conversations, I'm coming in quarters. Cummings is not going to put all his energy into this to succumb to Weah. I just said to you that Randy's hypotheses or analytical approach to what he put forth may not be factual. Cummings is doing everything now because of his stamina. He's wanting to be president now. So if Ellen looked at what Weah has done in the opulence of lighting the Christmas tree and they had a little noise, she's trying to make sure that he doesn't come back to power. So as a result, right, I would do what is best for the country, bring an opposition, but not Boakai. That's the point I'm making. So are we saying here that if Cummings become president, is not a win for the opposition?
No, but
I don't know. I'm just trying to understand that it must be Boakai.
It
must be Boakai.
No, it is a win.
And quickly from what I was saying, this is not about Joseph Boakai.
But it almost sounded like that. So I wanted you to come. Yeah, I wanted you to come across.
That. Yeah,
yes, I wanted you to come across because you see she's not a nationalist. But in this case, if her support, I'm coming. If her support is to one of the opposition candidate who just the third best in the race, the third. We can say Weah is the first because he's incumbent. We can say Boakai is second, and we can say Cummings is third. She's already made it emphatically clear that Boyka
Yeah.
can never be president under her.
Wh-
I mean,
Yeah,
with her
yeah.
being
Why
alive.
she's
Sorry,
alive? Why
I'm
she's
coming. I'm
alive?
coming.
Hmm.
While she's alive,
Hmm.
and she made Boyka to understand. Listen, both of us are old. Let's park our race car in the garage and let the young people lead the country. Boyka said no. He still wants to be president. She pulled a stool from under him, gave it to Weah. She still maintains her position, and she's about to pull the stool from under him again to give it to Cummings. My question again is, gentlemen, if Cummings become president, comes 2023, is he the best alternative in this case if the opposition must take this thing from George Weah? Does it
But
have to be
it's
Well,
like that?
self-explanatory. It's
yeah.
self-explanatory.
I mean, that's
If
what
he
we
if he
all want.
becomes, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, we want
And
to
I still
change
think
the
it's a win
government.
for Liberia. He becomes president.
Because I want us to understand it from two schools of thoughts here. Randy
Okay,
said that Cummings coming in the race is only to muddy the water because his
And
intent is to come 2029.
that's
I'm
Randy's
telling you, I had a
speculation, though.
solid conversation today, and it's now for Cummings because he doesn't want to lag up to 2029. He wants to enjoy his life at the age of in his 70s, so he's not trying to be president way up there in age like Baka is trying to be.
well, and
So,
that's
and
what.
anyhow we look at it.
So Volcano, if I could just quickly say this, we heard from Randy that hey, all what Mr. Cummings is doing now is publicity stunt. His interest is not to win the presidency. He wants, according to Mr. Randy, he wants this thing to go to a second turn and say, hey, I want the people of Liberia to decide. Randy is here. That's what he said. And when that happens, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf witches will come through because her cronies, her supporters will then what? Throw support to Mr. Weah. And then Mr. Weah will end up what? Winning the election in 2023. That's what I'm saying. If based on what Mr. Randy said, if that is true, then the former president is not a nationalist because re-electing George Weah will retrograde. I mean, we retard Liberia's progress.
But Ellie has never been a nationalist.
You
She's
see,
never been a nationalist.
let's give Randy the opportunity to better explain that again. Randy, you wanna say something to that?
I mean, I already said what I wanted to say. Like I said, you gotta walk up to Mr. Cummings and ask Mr. Cummings whether he will prosecute Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You see, Ellen has the this systematic strategy of owning people before they even get to realize themselves.
Yeah.
What Ellen had done to Mr. Cummings would never put Mr. Cummings in a situation to challenge Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Darrell DeLone, speaking about him, Darrell DeLone had an interview. And look, guys, I got over 250 recordings. All right. I started the whole Liberian politics in 2010. I don't know what, I mean, aside from Volcano and Brother Moses, I don't know what other people were, but we started this thing before even Facebook Live came. And what I did in the process, I calculated my time that every politician today in Liberia, I got recording on all of them based on the different show we had. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is very calculative. She prepared herself to take on her prey because when she get you, she get you. Mr. Cummings is in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf corner right now.
See that?
Let me come in here. Somebody, Emmanuel Tia is saying, "Are you serious, my dear?" He's referencing you, Moses. President Weah is enemy to you. Wow, this is how far the politics is written now. Calling your president enemy. I can't believe this from a Liberian.
We're
I
not
don't
calling
think.
the
I think
enemy.
again.
Ladies, listen
I
to
think
me.
again is contextually stated here when he said it's the common enemy, which means that everyone in the opposition bloc wants we are
Once
out of
he-
power. But
Yes.
okay, so let's change the word enemy here, Moses, and I'll do this.
I
for
think
the
it's
peace.
incumbent upon Moses to explain himself because the
Yeah,
word
No.
enemy,
This
the
is
word
the
enemy
issues.
got a positive side, negative side.
No,
So
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. This is the
Yeah.
issues room. We'll just change
So-
the word from enemy. Okay,
Okay.
that he's the obstacle to
yeah.
Liberia's progress.
Okay, he's the
Let-
obstacle to Liberia's
Liberian
progress. He's the most sought after individual
Yeah,
that all Liberians want out of power.
yeah.
That's
So
the
that's
message I'm
That's
conveying
cleans
here.
it. So we don't mean enemy. It's just the way the context under which Moses spoke. People speaking in context. Nathaniel McGill spoke in context. So and justifying corruption. But let's go to this caller quick from an 8667 number. The caller from California, quickly.
Yeah, thank you very quickly. Thank you for taking me. I'm Dolake Janitor again. But when I listened, and this is a media, and I heard that the media guys will be playing independent role. So somebody bringing all a hypothesis or a statement, an assertion, and it seems to be evaluated as a basis of facts. It's scary. So even ask Mr. Cummings by Jay Rennie whether Mr. Cummings will prosecute Madam Salif. It is highly scary. I think what people are trying to play is that to get Mr. Cummings out of the entire equation. And the easy way to do it is to always allow him with anything that will seem to be condemnable. What Mr. Cummings has said quickly is that he supports the war and economic crime code establishment. He go against the end of impunity in our country. The 44 members on that committee or on that team Cummings, they support war and economic crime code. They want to face the accuser, and in any independent court, they are prepared for it. And so if that's the basis, the hypothesis of Jay Rennie cannot be sustained in such an argument, whether he will select who to persecute or who not to persecute. That's not how you run government.
So quickly before you go, then isn't it a fair statement that Randy made that looking Cummings in the eyes? We've asked Barker this same question. We asked Barker, right there, will you prosecute those perpetrators? And if Ellen Johnson's name is in that document from the TRC, then she's a perpetrator. And Barker said, so help me God.
Yeah, he committed to
Randy position, I'm coming. So Randy position here is, if we were to ask him this question directly, will you prosecute Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, knowing that her name is...
They got people come here and say they can't hear us. They say they can't hear us. I'm not sure.
Hear us.
They say the audience cannot hear us.
Then what's going to be the answer now? If somebody has said all those
they're not hearing us, then how?
No. I think the hypothetical here, or I wouldn't even say the hypothetical. I think the fact here is to put it directly, because Ellen feels that she's the big gun and she's untouchable. So pointing the finger directly to her, and that in itself will clarify the notion that Ellen is in Cummings' scam, and Ellen is propping Cummings by him being very fair and declarative to say, yes, I will prosecute Ellen. It's a direct question. It's not unfair.
Just to let you go, and you don't want to be selected.
Can I hear you guys here?
You can hear. Some of it relating to facts and their recommendation should go to judicial process where they refer to the accused must be heard. In that instant, you don't want to be selected as to who I want to prosecute or who I don't want to prosecute. You allow the court system to play itself. In a hypothetical sense, that it says that the recommendation, Madam Sally is guilty of it, of course the due process will take its course.
Agreed. But it's just at some point the Liberian people are just tired with people dilly-dallying. Moses, you can hear me?
Finally, if we want the rightful judicial process to take place, we should not, whether media practitioners, whether justice people who are calling for accountability, we should not be selective as to who we prosecute, except people that Prince Johnson, who will vehemently, aggressively resist justice system that we will have to ponder on. But all other persons who accept the process, they should go through the process, including those who rely on.
Thank you. So we run out of time.
Can I say something quickly here? Can I say something?
Go ahead, Rennie.
You see, what some ANC people try to justify is what I see as dishonesty. And I said to them, one of the reasons Cummings may not win the election, it will be the act of God rejecting Mr. Cummings. There are many times ANC people and other opposition will say, and we are saying he will get 85, and he gave 85%. They see that direct comment as an opportunity for them, right? Mr. Walker Bronsky was asked whether he will prosecute Ellen. He said the same thing. I cannot guarantee. If she found guilty, I will do what is right for the Liberian people. Uncle Walker said the same thing. So what is so exceptional about Mr. Cummings saying this thing? That is something fundamentally wrong. So the guy trying to come here and say, oh, let's just look at it in a general perspective, right? But then what if that were we are today? If that question, the way he answered that question, if that were we are, that question was being posed to, and this guy who support ANC, how you think you're going to answer that question? Your guess will be just as mine. He will want for we are to admit to that. When we are spoke on the phone to Mr. Taylor, what happened? Everybody demanded that Mr. We should come out to get justification. And Mr. We said, I was only there, the phone call key, and the president of EJ said he wanted to be, and I talked to the man. Everybody must get justification, but people just want to protect and protect. And lastly, the first lady I just forgot, she said, I insulted Asif Atoba. I never insulted Asif Atoba. Asif Atoba, in fact, was the one who brought me to CDC. He recruited me. And again, he was instrumental again in getting me to talk to Mr. Cummings for the first time on Zoom right in my home office here. And I always tell him, I say, you got me into this thing here, and I will always come to punch you all the time. And he always laugh about it. So that's where we are, guys. But in regards to what I got said, that's how I see
I think we should wrap up. I'm sensing some issues here tonight. We were up almost 100, number 99, and then
it's not dropping
back
because
to
we can't hear. People can see the thing.
Is that people not hearing us?
Yeah, I got it right here, right now.
Yeah,
think
but
we have, I think we have problem.
I got it here. It's not moving.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly,
It's saying that you are live. It's saying that you are live.
live,
Yeah.
but then, yeah, and
Yeah, we got to
everything-
close it because they're
Yeah.
not hearing. I get you a lot of
Yeah.
text messages. Everybody
yeah,
saying they can't hear.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
Okay.
going on.
Okay.
It was a
but,
good show. Mostly,
I think
Yeah,
we
it
got the
was.
points through though.
Yeah, we did.
good thing I
Maybe
saw my question
maybe
too.
we can redo it. In the future.
Yeah.
We can reschedule.
Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
it's
But in fact,
Technology.
in fact, what I would say here to the group, why can't Mr. Comic come on the show here too?
We
Some of
appreciate
you
that.
guys can asking that question.
We appreciate if anyone can help to open that door for us. Because it's a layer.
have you
gotta
reached
go
out
through.
to the contact person I gave you?
Yeah, I have that. I will
Okay,
reach
so
out.
then
Yeah.
do that.
Mhm.
Start from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start from
And get
there
in here.
Mhm.
because it's clear that he's in the country.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, man. Listen,
All
I
right,
don't know
gentlemen.
what's going on. Facebook
Yeah.
got away.
Eduardo, thank you.
Yeah.
And Brother
Yeah,
Moses,
thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
one thing I want to say
Thanks,
about you,
man,
Randy,
guys.
though,
It was a
you
pleasure, man. It was a great
have a
show.
thick skin, Randy.
Thank you.
It
You have a
was a
thick
great
skin.
show. Thank you.
All right. Bye,
You
guys.
handle it with
Yeah,
grace, and I
guys.
appreciate that.
Enjoy.
Gentlemen,
Yeah,
Thank you.
Randy.
Thank you.
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Good. All right, Volcano. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
It was
Yeah.
a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah, technology, but
Thank you.
let's kind of
Let's
check
wrap
and
up,
see
man.
what's going
Because
on.
maybe
Yeah.
people are not hearing us, Moses. No need to have that conversation.
Yeah. So
We want
thank
to
you.
thank all of you for joining us tonight. Again, Facebook. We don't know what's happening. The show is not ended, but everything is frozen. I just beginning to see the comments. I couldn't see any of them. So hopefully we will rectify some of these things. But in the meantime, we want to remind you that this Friday we will not be broadcasting, but we'll resume hopefully on Tuesday next week. Again, we'll not be broadcasting. We'll send a notification out in the coming days. But we want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Moses, have a good night.
You did the same. Thank you. Bye bye.